Hi, Oro here. When Bryce 4 was launched, Infinity's Child was the flagship of abstract material and modelling animation. The depth and detail of Bill Ellsworth's art and Rodney Lognon's animation work is breathtaking, along with Paul Haslinger's score. And you'll be amazed to learn that animating materials can be very easy to do, and is a lot of fun because, well, you can't make mistakes with abstracts. It's not like you're trying to synthesize something real. It's all highly subjective, but still gorgeously fantastic. So once you get how to animate materials, go crazy and experiment. This is something I threw together with a few defaults. There's a lot of stuff going on there, including terrain animation, but I've been watching this for hours. Okay, I'll start with a simple water offset. I'm working in auto key mode, so every change I make is automatically keyframed. The infinite plane here has a water material, and I'm just going to drag the material over it. Imagine an infinitely large tablecloth on a table, and someone is pulling the tablecloth off it towards you. So in the MATLAB, this may be the very first time you've realized, hey, there's a timeline here. And this one's easier to see because Daz didn't change the colors on this one, thank goodness. But here's rule number 1. Material animations are only done on the material timeline. Okay, so to move the material, we need the transformation tools, sometimes called the golden tools, and here they are. Now, generally, material animation is actually texture animation, and we're offsetting the A channel texture in the Z direction. So I'll set an arbitrary duration, say, let's say 3 seconds. I'll enter in a value of, say, 30. And because I'm in auto key, that's been recorded. So rule 1, record material animations in the material timeline. Here's rule 2. Avoid setting more than 2 keyframes for a material animation. Now the reason I say this is because material animation keyframes can be very hard to detect in the main view because you can't see it, nothing's moving as far as the wireframe is concerned, and it's really only after a lengthy render time you might pick up an extra keyframe where there shouldn't be. So I tend to just operate with just first and last keyframes of the animation. They're just easier to find. Finally, and this is rule 3, I'm going to skip back and check my first frame again, because sometimes the first frame doesn't set correctly. Okay, taking a look and we're good. I'll do a mini view. I want to see if the speed flows at a rate where you can see a progression of wave points from one to the other. There's no point making the texture just whiz by at incredible rates because your movie's frame rate won't capture that as movement, just wibbly blue plane. So there's a little experimentation you want to do here. So that's translating a texture. Using the offset tool, you can move a material over or through an object. The scale tool increases or decreases the frequency of your texture, which is useful for simulating proximity to your view. And rotating a texture takes on different effects depending on your mapping mode. So currently we're working in world space, but if you're rotating a texture through object space or parametric scaled or cylindrical view, the rotation of that texture will take on a different appearance. So again, more experimentation needed. I'm going to look at material animations more closely later, but first let's look at sky animations. A couple of points here too. First, sky animation can be done in either the main view or its sky timeline. Second point is about the difference between states and parameters. A state is an on-off, enable-disable feature. You can't animate states. But once a state is on, you can animate its value ranges or parameters. So here, for instance, haze is off. I can't animate the feature on and off when I like, but I can switch it on and set its parameters off. Anything that has a value range, you can animate. There is one interesting set of parameters in the Skylab, and that's cloud motion, just these 3 parameters here. Now normally, to make changes from one thing to another, you need to set 2 keyframes. You want to change from this quality to that quality. But the cloud motion parameters only need 1 keyframe for movement, because these parameters have direction and magnitude built in. If you find your materials aren't moving, it's because you've only set 1 keyframe for it, or all your keyframes have the same values. But if your clouds aren't moving, you have no keyframes set for it. And this often happens if you delete all your sky keyframes at the start of your animation. So that's states and parameters.
Zulu base, this is Oscar, Romeo, Oscar. 400 clicks east of the objective. Payload is hot. Repeat, payload is hot and ready to... Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, Zulu base. Turns out I'm just flying between 2 animated materials. Crap, even my accent is fake. Nothing real anymore. What the f... Thanks, Bryce.
Alright, let's get back to the MATLAB for material transitions. Now I've said you can't animate between states, and this is actually a slight lie back in the MATLAB. You can animate between these state buttons because there's already a technology behind it that allows the blending of channels. Experienced DTE users know about AB blending, or ABC blending, etc. So animating between channel states is possible, but it will give unpredictable results. So let's have a closer look at transitions or animating material changes. The left ball shows the start state of a grid cage, all done in channel A. The right ball shows the finished look, which is a default texture in channel B and a fuzzy rendering intent. Middle ball is being asked to change from texture 1 to texture 2. Now, lay your bets, people. What will change? What won't change? At what point will we see changes?